Okay, hang on. I've started this stream, so I'm gonna give you a link. Sure you should. All right, I just posted a link in the private chat, and I got to figure out. This is going to be complicated.
First.
Okay, I'll find I'll find Jenny and give her the link.
All right. Hi, Maya.
Wrong face.
Oh.
Not look
Everybody
like,
here.
Look manly.
All right.
All right.
Are we live?
Hey, I believe. Yeah, we are live.
Just the three of us.
Okay, I just gave Jenny the link.
Spackle, do you have the link?
Das Spackle.
You go over to you'll see your name somewhere, and then you hit leave room. Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone.
Hey everyone!
Hello?
Don't forget to come see Live from the Hive tomorrow morning for Jeff the Talking Mongoose. It's happening. It is finally happening. That's the one everybody's been waiting for, right?
Yeah,
Jeff
I
the
hated
Talking
that. I
Mongoose.
wanted to wrap up.
No
and
kidding. That's the one. That's the one I've been waiting for. Oh, Spackle's here.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Yay,
Spackle
Spackle's in.
the talking Spackle.
I'm the talking walrus.
Spackle.
Hi guys. I just pictured like big old teeth, kind of goofy.
Yeah, I wanted to
actual Spackle.
I wanted to show everybody out because Spackle is back and streaming again. I think.
I think it's been months. I've been so sick and messed up. It's been months.
I remember when Stephanie used to always call midnight Spackle.
I know. It's just well.
Yeah.
You talking about Midnight Sparkle?
Yeah.
Midnight Sparkle.
Oh, we are so different from each other. I know him.
Midnight's
Hi, Jenny.
Midnight.
Hi. Look what the cat dragged in.
It's not the cat.
It was the dog. I'm too big for a cat.
Now we just need back.
Look what the Squatch dragged in. There you go.
That's right.
Hey, Spackle. The reason that joke I told before is funny is because I have not had a date since 1979.
Holy fuck! That was the year we were born.
How about that, eh?
I didn't want to be that asshole. I'm kidding. God, well, I'm surprised, Jenny. I am.
Man. Same. I'll just go with that.
That's all. We can move on.
I'll shoot back a link in on Twitter or something. I guess I should do.
Yeah, I'm like, how to show. I'm usually pretty good at this.
How to show.
So where were we? We were in the midst of.
Well, it's your screen.
Oh yeah. Well, I was explaining how I don't understand attraction, and you guys were trying to explain what you get horny for.
Oh, I was fascinated because like it's just interesting how much of a spectrum that is, and it's not a judgment. I bet you get judgment from people, huh?
I get pity, which is weird. And I'm like, I don't, again, having never been attracted to anyone, like you don't really know what
Here's Beck.
what you don't miss. And hey Beck. So like you don't miss what you don't know. And for me, it just seems
that's true
better because like I see people like doing all this crazy ass shit because like they're so attracted to this person. And I can actually just like sit down and like, okay, well, this guy's better on paper than this guy. So I guess I'm going over here. I don't know. It's more in line with my personality of just like being thoughtful and like methodical and logical. So
analytical.
yeah.
I'm gonna ask something real uncomfortable, and if it's too invasive or uncomfortable, you can tell me to say pass. But when you get married, there's often this concept of like, well, people want some sort of physical relations. Do you find somebody that has a really low drive, and then you go, well, yes, this works out, or do you find somebody that just for whatever reason you're like, I don't really prefer to play ping pong, but okay, like it, you know what I'm saying?
When I was with my ex, I had sex twice a day.
Damn,
that is a lot.
That's pretty good.
Every fucking day.
That sounds like a chore if you're not into it, dude.
Was it okay?
Yeah, if you're not into it, exactly.
Are you okay? Only women.
Well, I mean, you know,
it must be horrible.
No, I mean,
like if you don't want to, it must be horrible.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, yeah.
Well. It was a lot easier than like saying no because oh my god, he could throw the biggest bitch fit. But I don't know. I mean,
I heard.
It's not like he was bad or anything like that. I don't get horny like that. So like, and I just felt I never had the opportunity to be horny. So it was, for me, it was just like, okay, it was something I had to mentally prepare for every day. And yeah, you go do it. And
Can I just say
that
really
sounds
quick?
Horrible. But
it's not horrible. It's not horrible. It's only horrible if it's horrible for you. But yeah.
If my partner said to me, I really don't want to have sex, I just want to cuddle every night, I would accept that because if I love that person, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there were a couple of times
you can masturbate.
Yeah, there were a couple of times when I was mad and I was just like, I'm not into this. And he would not come into the bed. He was like, I need you to consent. And I mean, it's just like the most passive aggressive thing, but it's just like,
go jerk off, asshole. Fuck.
Right.
How narcissistic of you to think that only your needs matter.
Yeah, no.
That's
he had a really high libido. We compromised it twice a day.
Fuck that. I would never make anybody.
It sounds like a lot of work, actually.
I don't know. I mean, God, and it sounds so horrible. Like, again, I mean, but like, I don't know. I just got used to it. It was just.
Well, I mean, as long as you all had a framework for your relationship that was acceptable, then I mean that's between the two of you. Exactly. 2 times a day. I don't know how you would. Once a day.
It's like brushing your teeth, like once in the morning, once before you go to bed.
Well, even if you're into it, like I'm into it, but like. I need the emotional connection, but even if you're into it, like there's times when I'm not feeling well. There's times where I'm just like I'm in a funk, like that's a chore in those times. That's a chore. So I don't know. But so I'm always kind of like, woo, I'm like a wave a little bit here and there.
Yeah, no, I thought it was high, and I was hoping like once he hit 40, it would like settle down, and because I'm like, well, like I'm like I thought like at 38 or something, like the women were supposed to peak, and while the men's was going down. And but again, like I said, I'm Aero Ace, so I don't really have those emotions like those were. like I loved him with all my heart. The divorce was hell for me, and for me it was just like, okay, this makes him happy, so it's whatever. But I think the part that bothered me more was just in the back of my head, like it's not really a choice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, there's different, I guess sociologists call different forms of companionship too. And we're so rigid in what we think like a marriage ought to be, or a romantic relationship ought to be, or, even poly ought to be, or whatever these things are. But there's actually some people that actually are just companions and they're okay with that. Like that is also a thing where you love each other, but it's a companionship, which is a little bit different. And so that exists as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of people like that. My mom was telling me about a guy that she worked with back in the day, and he would get so happy because like the only time he had sex ever was once on his birthday. And that was it for the whole year.
Man, it must have been really good though. That's kind of smart if you think about it. Be like the best sex, like being a virgin again almost, right?
I don't know how you keep a man doing shit like that. Like, oh my God.
Well, some of us are more worried about emotions and intellect and morals and ethics and stuff like that than whether you want to have sex all the time.
Right.
Like if I fell in love with somebody that was ace, fine, so be it. I would deal with it for the right person.
I mean, again, and it's not like I never want to have sex. Sex is, I mean, it's not a priority for me, but I love cuddling. I love the intimacy. I love, like the guy that I'm with now, we do a lot of stuff. Yeah. It's, the massages. I mean, we do oil massage. We take showers together. We, read books, like while we're like cuddled up on the couch together. It's,
that's awesome.
Just a different type.
So that sounds romantic to me.
Right. Yeah. And that was my entire Memorial Day weekend. Like we just like intertwined in each other's arms, like no less than half the weekend. But I mean, again, it's new. 7 years down the line, who knows? But I don't know, but yeah, it's romantic, and it's more about me and what I want. So, and that's kind of uncomfortable because I've never really been asked.
You compromised a lot, right? Constantly.
A lot. Yeah. And not just with, my husband, but like, I just my whole life.
Yeah. And it's expected a lot. Like there's a lot of expected. Yeah. That makes sense. Thanks for sharing. I know it's a little invasive. And so like, ever.
No, just don't send him the stream. I'll be fine.
Well, eventually he's going to kind of find out, how you work. But yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it. No, yeah, like the new guy, I don't think I said anything that he would be like too much. Oh, yeah. But yeah, the ex, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of feel like I don't know, like I kind of feel like I'm characterizing him as like a rapist, and I'm just like,
no.
It really wasn't like that.
I didn't take it like
his libido was, I mean, and this is a lot of times, what happens in marriages where, the sex drive is just drastically off. And it was more important for me to do this thing that made him happy than to end up like these other couples who are married, couples therapy, because the wife is just like, I'd rather not. And it's making the guy feel some kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard.
Good point.
It is a lot to navigate. It's one of those huge pieces that people argue about. And finance is another. Money is another.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you're alone. I've run into a few ladies that have said something kind of similar. Like at least to the point of like, I wish he would not want it as much. Like they're like I've heard that, and it's like it sounds like it's a chore, and I'm not disparaging him, but like I think that like you're probably not alone. Like there's probably a spectrum there. Like there's some people that are just like, this is a little more of an obligation than what I'm really super into.
Right.
I guess
that's my contribution to Pride Month, and I don't know what to do. I mean, because like aromantic and asexual like are both like part of like LGBT, but like I was saying, it feels like it's not anything. It's like the atheism of like sexuality. So I don't feel comfortable like saying that I'm anything. I don't know.
How do you say lacktheist, but you want to say lacksexualist?
Lacksexualist, yes.
I like that.
Yeah, well, I am, but not because I want to be.
You're what they call an incel.
Yeah.
Just want to say that I think that discussions like this is why I am profoundly irritated with people in any one of the alphabet letters when they get PO'd about any other one of them. It's like, well, you should be, these are people that don't belong in having these discussions. I think that's so bad, because what we're talking about here is a more expansive view about human life, which includes human sexuality and perceptions about gender and perceptions about all of this stuff. The people that say, well, if we go with the bisexuals, that's gonna hurt the lesbians. If we go with it's gonna hurt these. And now we're talking about political considerations that is bad politics. It's just bad politics because we're not supporting each other.
There's actually groups on Twitter I'm seeing of like I think there's this one Twitter that I've been watching that's gays and lesbians against groomers. And of course it's just anti-trans, and it's like, yo, and then anti-pride. And
the tea,
yeah, I'm side-eyeing these people like a lot.
Right. By rights.
It reminds me of Caitlyn Jenner. Somebody that has sort of a place of privilege but doesn't mind stomping on someone else's.
Oh, she pisses me off so bad.
Right.
Caitlyn is the person who
anti-shaggist, you guys in the chat.
Climbed the wall, climbed the walls and pulled the ladder up behind her. It's like,
have you
don't deserve the privileges I have, so you don't get to climb my ladder.
That's Kelly Cadigan right there.
Rather than being a ladder. And the thing that really pissed me off about Jenner is that she had Jenny Boylan. She had good people saying, Caitlyn, here's the drill, when she did her little show thing there. And she just didn't listen. And she doesn't listen because she doesn't care.
Right.
She's got her space. She's at the top of the castle. She doesn't care about anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the only way you can actually see that, because like I've watched her be kicked out of quite a few Republican things, and
she doesn't know that either. Yes, they do. They don't realize. She does not realize that they are the leopards ripping her face off.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't know if she doesn't realize it or she just wants to keep her money that badly. Like, I can't imagine aligning myself with a group like that. Like, for what? The Democrats aren't going to take your money. I don't like you can align yourself.
Oh, they'll take her money, but they won't. But they won't.
No, I'm sorry.
But they won't deceive her. But they won't deceive her.
Right.
And the thing is, it's like I, you know, gay people, queer people, trans people, they're not going to dishonor somebody else's journey. And Caitlyn is out there dishonoring other people's journeys. And nobody's journey is the same. Right. And she just won't let anyone else have their journey.
You're talking about Caitlyn Jenner, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you run into or gotten to know this young woman named Caitlyn? Also, I forget her last name. Who's on Twitter? She's like 25, and she transitioned before she was 15.
Are you talking about Kelly Cadigan?
Oh, is her name Kelly?
Yeah, I thought it was
I thought it was Caitlyn. Oh well, no, I don't know her that well.
But yeah, she transitioned at 17 or whatever, and doesn't want anybody else to be able to. She
has been trying to align herself with the haters, okay? And she has finally come to the realization that there's nothing she can do that will ever make her their friend, okay? And that she's been turning her back on the wrong people, and that she has made a huge mistake in her life, and she has to find a way to make amends with us on this side of the fence, and to learn and grow from it. So she's actually kind of interesting that she's being so open and honest about it finally.
She was scheduled to go on Tim Pool's podcast and found something he said about.
I was thinking. That was the young man I was thinking of, Tim Pool. What a shit nozzle.
Yeah, called
unbelievable shit nozzle.
Called a gaping wound or something.
Oh yeah, there's lots of people who call us that.
The gaping wound. The first gaping wound person was what was it? Michelle. She wrote an op-ed in the New York Times. Which, by the way, the New York Times. Let's talk about how supportive the goddamn mainstream media in the United States and the UK are towards trans people.
They're not.
They're not. They're garbage. Yeah, exactly.
You have something to say? Wow.
No, I was waiting to hear from the media about supporting trans people.
Yeah.
All I heard was like cricket.
Yeah, well, if you go all the way in the back of Target, you might find a couple of shirts.
Yeah, it's interesting because Target here is up front, right?
Back in some of the stores because it was offending people.
Yeah, SoCal, it's like up front, and in other places are like, let's hide it.
Here's my biggest thing about people hating us, right? This is my big thing. I don't understand why it affects you at all. Like literally, they're hanging onto a fucking bathroom. If it bothers you that bad, I know people that will not use a public restroom unless it's a single toilet, close the door thing. So just do that. You'll live. What, you have to walk another 20 feet to pee or something? Hey, use the family restroom. Single hole. And don't date people that are under the umbrella. That's Beck, all you have to fucking do.
They none of the rest because they have been taught that we're nothing but trouble.
Anybody, it doesn't fucking matter. If you don't like gays, don't date a gay. That's all you have to do.
I mean, I don't like football player type guys. Like they're too much dude for me. I don't date them.
when I see guys acting misogynistic and then kissing women in public, it literally makes me sick to my stomach because I know how they're really treating that woman. But I don't walk around saying anything about it. If that's what she wants to date, that's up to her. Guess what? It goes the same the other fucking way. I'd much rather see two men kissing
but,
than a man kissing a woman, because a typical cis fucking white man is a piece of shit. And see, my cat even agrees. Sorry.
I feel like one of the things that I hear over and over again is, I don't understand why you have to put it in my face. I don't understand why you have to talk about it. I don't understand why it has to be in this movie. I don't understand why it has to be in this show. I don't understand how it has to be. There's always somebody in this book. And I think it's really funny how upsetting it is, because if you look at the percentage of characters, it's like there might be a character that is, but in the percentage of characters, it's still a minority. And it's so upsetting to them. And I don't know, I have to look at it. It's like, we have to look at it. Like, it's literally all over our culture, like the other direction. And I just think it's really odd that it's so so horrifying to you that, like, you just can't even, like, you know, like, I don't know. Like, there's
no, but it's like
that they
I don't like.
No, they flipped that over a Black Mermaid. Like, it's like that with everything. Why can't I just see what was in my house when I was growing up? Why do I have to acknowledge that any of you other bastards even exist in the country that we share together? They're ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, why do you have to blow up?
It's the blow up over it. Again, there's the intersectionality isn't always exactly the same thing, but it certainly does rhyme. With DeSantis going after Disney and people losing their goddamn minds about Halle Berry in The Little Mermaid, it's like, what the hell? What is wrong with you guys? This is a business a business that is in their entire business is about telling stories.
Yeah.
And you all lose your goddamn minds about when the stories get told.
And there's
Stephanie, this
little.
is about Americans. Americans are raised to believe they cannot do any wrong, that we are the heroes of the planet, that we will save anything, and whatever we say is right.
Jenny, what do you mean we're not?
Fake news.
Just kidding.
I don't know. I have no. I don't know. I don't know.
I thought we were the world police.
Well, we certainly act like we are.
I was going to say that Disney had a serious shortage in the animated features of anybody of any color other than white, and like, it's just really funny how upsetting this is. It's like, I think we had the Princess and the Frog and Mulan, but like from there, recently we had Encanto.
And I think Moana, whatever she was.
Which Encanto was fantastic, by the way. It was really good. Moana, yeah. Why do we have to be threatened by these things? These are not threatening things. Like, you know, it's just so odd to me that inclusivity is so threatening.
I think I know what it is. It's reminding all the fucking rich ass white people how they treated people to get to where they are, and they don't want to hear it.
No, it's
they don't want to see the people that they treated poorly.
Trying to push the great replacement agenda.
I hear the haters. Really, I see it on Twitter and read it. How upset they are these days that on American television there's so many commercials with black people.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's yeah, I've heard that complaint.
What?
I'll have you know that depends on where you live.
It really does.
You know,
I have been all over the United States. It changes. You go into another county and the faces change and they look more like white country people. And then you go into the next area and it's more city. And all of a sudden there's a couple Hispanics thrown in with the white people. And then all of a sudden there's a couple black people thrown in with the white and the Hispanics. And then you get further and it turns white again till you get to the next city. That's how the United States is. It makes me
San
sick every time I drive through it.
It's very Latin heavy. We're Latina, Hispanic
and it'll
heavy.
be the same fucking companies in every single region that I go through. Same damn companies doing it.
In this city, it's more Hispanic, Latin, but I've noticed our city is not very representative of Black folks in the advertisement and stuff like that. It's usually Hispanic and white, and it's sort of like a race to see like who has the most exposure in the media, I guess, over here, because it's San Diego, it's a border town. But yeah, I would say still, even in this city where it's not completely white centric and it's quite a melting pot, it's still pretty much like, well, here's these two representatives,
because
and everybody else
bottom
is
line is they know who's spending the money, and whoever's spending money in that area is the people that they are going to go, oh, please buy stuff from us.
Yeah,
it's just, that's all it is. They don't care. They're not trying to be inclusive. That's all bullshit. They're just trying to fucking make money off of us. Bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some companies and stuff out there that are actually trying to, but because they actually put like posters up supporting, like Black Lives Matter or Pride or whatever it is at the moment that's going on. But you can tell the difference between the ones that are trying to suck you and the ones that are actually trying to support, because then they'll have like .org underneath to go to support people or get help, and that's different. So you just have to watch them.
Do you think these companies are caving under pressure? Why? It's like,
depends on the company. I mean, Disney
Mostly
didn't.
It's this.
Disney's not caving. Disney's definitely not caving.
They're too big. No one can hurt them, and they know.
But I don't think you understand. Like in Florida, like when Disney spoke out against DeSantis, there were so many protesters. Like it was cutting off traffic, like for people to get into the park, and they were just like, fuck you. I was kind of so Target didn't remove all of it. Last I heard, it was only like 3 stores, and they did that because the patrons for the store were like being so violent that it was the employees didn't feel physically safe. I don't know, and I'm trying to think. Well, it was who was the one that gave the beer can to the chick on Instagram, and nobody would have fucking known about it if
Bud Light?
Was that Bud Light?
I don't know. Yes. Bud Light's the one where people are shooting Bud Light like it's some like
nuts. Yeah. And who was the girl? Was it
Dylan Mulvaney?
Thank you. I'm sorry. Like I just see this thing and Nicholas. I'm just like, it is so stupid because like I remember looking into that and it was just like, okay, it was just supposed to be a thing on her Instagram, and some transphobe saw it. Like it was not marketed towards straight people, like period. But somebody got their hands on it, and would it go to Fox News or something, and like that was it. Like nobody would have the only way you saw this commercial is if you were being shown it from like Fox News or whoever the propaganda network was that was throwing a fit about it. It wasn't something that was coming across their daily into their feed. So I mean, it was so ridiculous.
I'm back.
Nicholas,
yes, it is ridiculous.
The only reason Disney is getting worse is because DeSantis is fucking with them. I'm pretty sure, like, if he wasn't such a big fucking baby, everything that happened has blown over by now. The only reason Disney is still in the news is because of all the shit that, the tit for tat they're doing with DeSantis.
Disney has taken a giant profit loss, though, actually. So they did take a profit loss over this, and they took a profit loss, obviously, over the pandemic. So Disney has been actually, they're doing okay, and they're going to make it, but they have taken some hits.
It couldn't have been just over what they said to DeSantis.
It's both the pandemic and that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody took a loss over the pandemic.
And also, people are starting to fall out of love with Disney, both liberals and conservatives. Mm-hmm. Conservatives because they're too liberal, and liberals because, like, well, this whole someday my prince will come is not connecting with people anymore. You know, it just isn't as much.
True. It's definitely 1960 shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the traditional Disney stuff, sure. Marvel's, last I heard, Marvel was still doing great.
Marvel is doing great. And Star Wars.
Yeah. They own a fuck ton of shit, though. Like, that's not even just like.
They own Jim Henson, too. You know,
that's true.
The Muppets and
all kinds of shit. Don't they have Cat in the Hat?
Do they?
They bought out Dr. Seuss?
Did somebody buy Dr. Seuss? I mean, I might have heard wrong, but I could have sworn it was Dr. Seuss that somebody was talking about.
Not sure.
I'm gonna bounce, guys. I'm gonna get kind of tired.
Good to see you in the morning.
Bye, beautiful. I'll miss you.
Bye, honey.
Bye, Bree. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the new park. I know they closed a business park, and Nick keeps up on the news way more than I do, so I'm not saying that he's wrong. But I know that the business park, it was like 2,000 people that they were planning to move to Florida. And and that was the last thing I heard that they stopped doing. But again, I just started a new job like 3 weeks ago, so I haven't been.
Oh, you're still in a big transition.
Yes. And I'm also preparing to move in 3 or 4 weeks. So the 1st of July.
Again?
Yeah.
Oh, where to? Out of state or same
the
city?
other side of town, close to my job.
Okay.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I don't see Disney losing this fight. I'd
Disney's
love
not going to lose this fight.
Nick to
I mean, nothing DeSantis is doing is legal.
But what they withdrew, they didn't withdraw a public facing thing. They withdrew an importation of thousands of jobs to Florida.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They said we're not gonna bring our California staff over to Orlando. And build up our place. I don't see how they're losing, and I don't see. Is their stock price dropping? I don't see that. I don't.
It is a little bit. Yeah.
I mean,
maybe a little, but
everybody's. Well, I mean, unless you're like fucking Exxon, but
yeah,
everybody's still a little down from the pandemic.
Hey, everybody, I'm gonna take off, but thank you so much for everybody's graciousness having this, and I'm glad that we can support each other and.
Yeah, because I know you've been going through a lot, and I'm not trying to get into that, but
it
meant a lot to have you on my stream.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Oh, thank you so much for coming by.
Yeah.
Thank you,
great.
Stephanie.
Right.
That Disney project that they say they canceled, that's been on their books for a long time, and there's been a lot of dissension within Disney as to whether or not they should proceed with it. Or not, and that's why it has been sitting and is still on their books, even though they haven't started any work on it. So it wasn't necessarily a gigantic thing for them to use it as a card against DeSantis.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what Ox put in here and said? He said it was never meant to be an ad campaign, and it actually had nothing to do with Bud. It was an advertising agency that made the 6-pack as a personal gift.
Yeah.
They weren't making it like mass producing it or anything.
No, yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like it was on her feed. It wasn't like a commercial that was
exactly
like that. They're I don't know, whatever. I didn't see how whatever Fox is doing. I just kind of saw the backlash, and from the backlash, it sounded like, oh my God, they're doing trans commercials. And then when I look into it, it's just like, no, like this is something that was like in her feed, not her feed, but like
Instagram, it was
just
part of her
Instagram,
her life, her social media, her stuff.
Right. I'm probably, you know what? I need to refresh.
Now, and Dylan Mulvaney is awesome and has a very sunny, happy attitude and met the right people, and I'm happy for her. Like, she's just like trans and rich now, so that's great.
If I liked her, if I hated her, like, there should be no change in anything I do. You know,
exactly.
For people to I don't know. I really hate this like hate campaign where all trans people are pedophiles, and we must eradicate them.
Groomers.
Yeah,
Groomers.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at combing my hair, though, so I don't know if I'm a groomer. I just don't think I am.
I'll say right out. I would not. I wouldn't encourage somebody to be trans.
Fuck
you either
no.
are or you aren't.
Take the easy road. Take the easy road.
I wouldn't encourage. I don't recommend it. I honestly don't recommend it. It's pain in the ass.
Don't do it.
Yep. What I'm uncomfortable with this Dylan situation is I'm glad that she got the gig. I'm glad she made a bunch of money off of it. That's really great for her. It'll pay for all her expenses coming up.
Yeah.
But she's only been in the trans community for a few months, and for her to be my representative, I'm a little uncomfortable with that.
Well, that's always a problem.
Yeah.
It's okay, Jenny. It won't last long.
Because
They'll
I don't
find
trust
somebody
her or
new in 2
anything.
seconds.
I don't. She she doesn't want to hurt us or anything like that. But if you don't know, if you haven't been in this business for a while and you haven't learned as much as you need to learn, you're going to say something that is going to get grabbed on by these horrible people and used against us badly. Yep. And so that's what I'm afraid of. But she's all right. I'm okay.
I don't like it. Because you're a member of.
I need to respond a little bit to Nicholas and Chad. It's like, yeah, okay, they lost $700 million. What's the box office for The Little Mermaid? It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
First weekend was 112 million or something like that.
So maybe it's a balancing act, and we don't need to. I think in the long arc of things, I think it's a little bit premature to say who's going to win, who's going to lose, and I think that's actually a major point. In the end, I'm very optimistic. I don't think these bigots are going to win.
Oh, DeSantis cannot beat Disney. Christ.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, Disney is losing money. DeSantis is being an idiot. If Disney can go to court and trace any part of that back to DeSantis, he's fucked. Disney's lawyers are massive and way smarter than him, and he needs to let this go.
They have been dealing with legal beagles and corporate entities and all that shit longer than DeSantis has been on the planet. Mm-hmm. He's just a kid.
I mean, no, Disney, they're aggressive and just no prisoners. I remember reading an article just on little people that had something that kind of sounded Disney-ish, and they they'll start with the stop and cease and desist, and you don't get a second one, and it doesn't matter how big or small you are. No, this is our brand, and they're very protective of it. And if you are doing something to hurt our brand, there's no way they're not coming for him.
I've seen daycares have to paint over their walls because they had Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck on them.
Yeah, stuff like that. Disney is...
BMW is also that nasty about their logo usage and stuff.
You know what kills me about that with daycares and stuff? You know that the daycares are just promoting them anyways for free.
Right.
Because then the kids are going to go home and go, Mom, I want to go see a Donald Duck movie.
Beck,
I saw it at daycare.
Beck, you don't understand.
Know why it's bad.
You don't understand. Fuck you. Pay me.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. Yep.
They are protective of the brand. DeSantis is getting himself into a bad place. And yeah, Disney's poorly positioned at the moment, but I'm just gonna sit back and watch eat popcorn over this whole thing because I hate them both. So whatever.
Disney's gonna be fine no matter what. They're too huge of a company. They own too much. You're not gonna hurt them.
And DeSantis is treading on thin water because where he used to be the golden boy, but now the news networks, like the conservative news, I'm sorry, the comedic state propaganda channels are turning on him and saying he's not being loyal to Trump and that nobody should vote for him. I don't know. He's maybe a little more. His ego is a little more ambitious than his means at the moment.
One of the things I'm really enjoying about this is watching the freakouts. I love when people get freaked out about stupid things. Mm-hmm. It's just so funny to laugh at. And so like who was Target does their thing and all their I hate Target, blah 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 blah. We'll go to Walmart, and Walmart opened their Pride thing a couple days later. And if you look at all the protests that they're doing, we're going to be against Bud Light, we'll drink this instead. Well, that's owned by the same company. Duh. Look at these big sheets that they have about who is owned by who, and it's like you can't boycott anybody without boycotting everything you consume.
Right.
Like everything out there basically can be like shrunk down and led back to in like 10 companies.
Yeah.
Own everything in the fucking United States. It's basically what it is. There's like maybe 20, but it's ridiculous. Like the big corporations, the big, they own a lot and people have no clue. Hey, all Maya, you have to do is see who's like next to each other, like built next to each other stores that are built next to each other, a bunch of them all at once, like KFC and all those, Olive Garden, blah, blah, blah. They always build them in one area together. It's because they're owned by the same person.
Yeah.
All of them.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's gotten to the point where, don't even get me started on, and it's been a number of rulings, but I remember like in the 80s when they broke up the bells, and now it's just like everything from like cereal to cars and clothing and like like they're all owned by the same 5 companies.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
I understand the legal beagle reasons that they broke up Ma Bell, but it was one of the biggest mistakes in technological advancement than anybody could have ever done. As soon as that happened, the quality of calls and service started going down the tubes. And look what we put up today with today and our cell phones and cutting off and pockets of no service and all the bullshit that they are.
And when
in the old days you could pick up your 50-year-old telephone and get a hold of somebody in India. And it worked and it sounded great. It was Western Electric, Ma Bell, great. They were great companies with what they did.
I mean, it was just one of the last in like the great infrastructure decline that we've been seeing. They just all they're worried about is next quarter's profits. They don't care about quality or safety or anything like that.
No, because they make more money pumping out shit fast and being unsafe. What they get sued for is nothing compared to their profits, so they just don't care.
Right.
They don't care if people get hurt. They don't care if their products fall apart. No one cares anymore. That's why I'm so sick of society. I don't want to be in society anymore. Nobody gives a fuck about each other. Makes me sick.
And people should give a fuck about each other, and I think that's kind of the point of Pride. And I don't know if there's any sense in thinking that the mouse or Donald Duck or even Goofy is going to be coming to save us all. I mean, I think that's kind of a thing. I think the whole point of Pride is that we can only we can save ourselves. Like, Pride started as a riot, and it started as a scream for recognition, and we've come a long way. We've come a long way, and we're seeing whole bunch of factors pushing back on that, saying, well, it's not this or not that. And I hesitate to say, yes, in our circumstance, we're the people that are screaming, it's not the American way. In Great Britain, it's, well, it's not quite British. And in all of these other places, Hungary, the degree of oppression that's out there still towards trans and LGBTQ folk generally is still pretty extreme. And Uganda, where they're gonna kill us, literally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's still there. That system of oppression is still there, and there aren't, as far as I can tell, systems in place to afford us full participation, which is why we need to do that. We need to create those places. We need to create the circumstances under which people of diverse gender expression, identity, and sexuality are able to say, we are part of humanity and you know it, and get over yourselves. Afford us the opportunity to live.
Yeah.
And we've got to work really, really hard because the pushback is really, really bad. We've gone from a place where there didn't need to be pushback because all of those legal frameworks were in place back when I was young, when Jenni was young. Those legal frameworks aren't there now, but they are trying to take away rights we have won.
Yeah, and I think today, they were talking about how LGBT has lost support for the first time in like decades from the American public. And it's just all this propaganda. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Nope. But that's all they want. They just want to push us back. And they want it to be 1960 again, where, all the women are barefoot and pregnant, and, the gays and shit are either beaten up or shut up, and the black people are in their place, and, I'm King Dick again, and I'm the typical white man. Like, that's what they want.
That's what the people, the bigots want.
The Republican bigot asshole,
the rich really just want us fighting against each other, so we're not looking at what they're not doing for us and how they're fucking us over.
Well, that's the same thing the government's doing too, because they don't want us to realize how much the corporations are running them. But we already know.
No. And that's what I mean when I say the rich, because the rich are the ones who are controlling the government. So I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yes. We're on the same page. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yep. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to refill my drink because goddamn.
Do it.
Right back.
Because goddamn, I need one now. What say you, Jenni?
Oh, not much. I'm really hating global warming at this point. In fact, that
I'm going to tell you,
it's 90 degrees here and humid for this entire half of last week and all of this week. We're the beginning of June.
Mm-hmm.
That is not what we're used to.
Okay. What are you used to? Like
we don't hit the 90s usually until about August.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you should be around 65 right now then.
Yeah, 65 to 70.
You know what's funny is normally here, I mean, I'm in the high desert, right? I'm at 7,500 feet. Sun's gets pretty fucking hot here. We are starting our monsoon season, which lasts for like a month and a half or something, 3 weeks or a month and a half, something like that. I don't know. And it'll just like out of nowhere, just pour down rain, and then it's just gone, and everything dries up and it's arid again. But it is really weird because like we're getting more hail than normal. And, it's like been raining. It rained like 6 days out of the last 7. It's raining a lot, and it was like 65-ish outside today, and I was like chilly in my house wearing my bathrobe till 3 or 4 p.m. It was.
Did you hear what Phoenix is doing?
No idea.
They have slapped the business world with limits on development because their water is running out, and they're saying it's time to limit growth.
Yeah, that's why California put in that huge canal system. They needed to move water too because people they needed it for land, they needed it for crops, they needed it for livestock. That's the word I was looking for. All these farmers out there, they had no fucking water. So they made California do something about it. And Arizona's going to have to do the same goddamn thing and make some kind of agreement with fucking Nevada or something to get some water off of them. They just need to fucking suck it up and do it.
I never understood people who thought it was any logical or acceptable thing to do than to try to build the Midwestern style housing and landscaping in the middle of the fucking desert. You got no water. You can't have the things that people with water do.
Look, the bottom line is
and live like you're living.
The bottom line is they can have water if they want it. Do you know how deep our wells are here? So people can have water. My landlord has a well. Some of these wells are like 500, 600 feet in the fucking ground.
The wells around here are about 40, 50 feet.
But you know what? We have fresh well water that tastes fucking like, it's the best shit in the world. I'll actually drink it.
The wells around here are 30, 40, 50, 60 feet.
Oh, yeah. No, that sounds
right. The aquifer is, the Ogallala aquifer is.
Ogallala I could never pronounce that word.
Ogallala, I believe.
Is practically gone. And it will take thousands of years to recharge.
See, the problem here is
we're kind of fucked.
The problem here is places like Arizona, like Phoenix and shit, everybody wants to have the beautiful palm trees, which are not indigenous to that. All they should have is cacti, and everybody wants grass in their lawns and around the hotels. So they water all this shit. It's not a good idea. You're in the desert. You don't waste water on plants.
Golf courses.
They're stupid. They're literally idiots.
I hate golf courses in the Midwest because of all the resources they destroy and environment they ruin.
Best title for a book ever: A Good Walk Spoiled, about golf. It was a book about
Good Walk Spoiled.
A Good Walk Spoiled.
That would be me because I don't know how to play. I'd probably fuck it all up. I'm not interested.
I never learned to play golf because it's one of those. It conflicts with sailing too much, or riding horses.
I could see that.
Yeah. Well, I only got so much time for athletic endeavors.
Hey, see how I spelled my name? F-U-K-C? If you spell fuck F-U-K-C, the bots don't know that's how you spell them.
Brilliant.
I can't believe it hasn't caught on to that one yet. That's great. Thank you. I'll use it. I usually just put a space, F-U space C-K, and it doesn't register.
Yeah. Hey, YouTube punk. Good to see you.
When I write
Tiny Uranus, you really, Tiny Uranus, you should come on stream.
Tiny, Tina,
come on,
Tiny, Tina. Yeah.
Do you know that they flag the word idiot? They will bounce your tweet for saying idiot. So I spell it with
Twitter.
The second I spell with a Spanish upside down exclamation point.
I like it.
You could go with
it. Doesn't recognize it.
Huh?
EEJIT will do it.
Yeah. I do that too. I usually do IDJ, and then a vertical line OT. God, I hate Elon Musk.
He's not a good fellow.
No, he's not.
He's an asshole.
I don't know what the fuck's going on here, YouTube punk. It's something.
It started out at Maya's for a kickoff for Pride Month, and then we started talking more and more. Now we're down the road of fucking fell down the rabbit hole of politics and bullshit. So here we are.
Well, that's politics and bullshit was part of the whole thing, but
it was like a centralized theme. Now we've just
it still is. It still is.
Well, yeah, I guess in respects.
Doesn't Carrie?
We got into capitalism in some respects because that's related. Because Target, because Bud Light, because
Chick-fil-A, because
Chick-fil-A. Yeah.
Doesn't Carrie Ann Chrysler have a lovely name? Isn't that?
Oh, come on, Titan, get your ass in here. My goal for tonight, I will feel that on my channel anyway, this stream will have been a success if Titan Uranus just comes in to say hello and leaves.
Nah, man, he makes my voice sound not deep. I don't want him to come in here.
Well, I know, but
I'm kidding.
He never comes. He never comes up into the hills, you know?
YouTube punk Chick-fil-A is getting hell because they decided to start bringing some diversity into the workplace. So they hired a diversity person. And ever since then, they are no longer the Christ chicken or the Lord's chicken.
The Lord's chicken. No longer the Lord's chicken. Now they're woke.
No longer the Lord's chicken. No more clucking for the Lord. No more Jesus cluck. They fucked it all up.
They're not the Lord's chicken.
Oh, thank you, Clara.
So they're crucifying the chicken. Is that it? Okay, let's get a dead chicken doll and put it on a crucifix.
Device not connected.
Antichrist chicken. There you go. Is that the stuff that's spicy? Satan chicken?
Probably. I don't buy spicy anything.
Oh God, we can't talk about no more. Okay, no, we got to change the subject. Not cool. I am a forced vegan now because of my kidney, and I can't have any fucking animal anything. I can't even have cheese. Nothing.
Oh, that sucks.
So no talking about meat in front of me anymore. It's fucking mean. I mean, I told my doctor, I said, I can do that. Like I used to, for breakfast, I'd make eggs with sausage and then have a side of bacon. Like, you can't do this to me.
Tonight for supper, I had.
Do you want to live or do you want to head for dialysis? Because that's where you're going.
Tonight I had some aged cheddar with brioche and some wine. So sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'm just so mad about it.
Kids, I'm gonna get going here.
Okay.
It's been fun.
Thanks for coming. It's been fun.
And
Maya says devices not connected. So hopefully Maya can get her devices connected.
Well, you just let me know, Stephanie. I'll come for you anytime.
I appreciate your being here.
And she means it.
Always.
She will definitely.
Hey, look! It is Uranus. Uranus, how are you? And are you tight?
That's Sir Uranus.
That's that actor guy.
Sir Uranus.
How is everyone?
What's that actor
Breathing.
name?
Say that again.
What's that
Say that
actor's
again.
name?
Oh, it's James. James. Can't remember. What's his name?
I don't either. All right, Maya. Thank you.
You tell us his name.
Oh, can you hear me?
I don't even know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you
Yeah.
sound
Maya's
amazing.
mad
You
at
look
me
even
now. I
better.
know.
Sorry, I had to change computers.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed this thoroughly.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in forever. I mean, it's been over a year, and thank you for coming.
Well, anytime, you just let me know.
Absolutely.
Spader, thank you, Anjur. Thank you.
Yeah.
James Spader. I knew I had half of it right.
He's a pretty good actor.
Titan, what are you doing here? You never come into streams.
Well, and I said you're going to be mad at me now because I didn't come in your stream, but I've actually eaten since, so now I can function a little bit.
Well, I mean,
all right.
I don't know. By rights, I'm always mad at you, so that's one more thing.
That's true. Maya's been mad at me for like 5 years, so.
Yeah, it's his own fault for making him.
I'm trying to get a level between you and Beck. You know, because Beck was saying that's like he was concerned about resonance, that and all of that. So I was just trying to get.
I was just kidding.
I know you were, but you raised the issue, so I figured I'd
la. No, I can't.
There we go. All right,
that's close though.
I think you guys are fine. You know, please carry on.
Sound good? Okay, that's all.
Yeah, you're all good.
Beck has a great voice. I don't know what he's talking about. I have an unusually deep voice, but I mean, yeah. A little known thing: Nick Suter won't let his wife be in the room when I'm talking to him because if I know she's there, I'll talk like this. Hey, Nick, how are you doing?
And then she's like,
well.
Who's talking like that?
Behind the scenes, here we are.
Oh my God.
Titan was coerced. He was coerced, yeah. Stephanie.
He was coerced. I did coerce the great Titan Uranus, whose presence is known throughout the interwebs. And
but usually in the side chat.
Well appreciated.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize how appreciated you were by modders. I just thought you were like strong arming them in the back, like, look, bitch, I'm gonna be in your side chat. Just mod me. Don't ask questions.
Me? I've asked for like in the whole time I've been on YouTube. When actually Nick asked me to be a mod and I said no, and then they did a show and got invaded by trolls. I mean, like a big group of trolls. Mm-hmm. And they only had one mod, and I said I'll help out, and I ended up not losing the wrench and staying. And the same thing happened with Derek on Myth Vision. He had no mods in his side chat.
Myth Vision? Holy shit! Yeah, that was shit.
Yeah, and one day he had on one of the ex-Muslims, one of the female ex-Muslim creators, and the people were coming in, and I'm not going to repeat what some of their screen names even were. They were horrific. A sexual, let's say sexual assault that person, type of stuff. And I basically said, Derek, he knew me from other places, and I said, Derek, you know who I am. Give me a wrench. This will be gone. That's a point. Like the only two times, other than hey, I'll put a link in if you give me a wrench for a minute or whatever, that I've ever asked for a wrench. So.
I've
and
never
that was
asked.
To help out.
I don't think I've ever asked for a wrench. I have asked to not be a mod. But
I'm sure I'm still wrenched some places that I don't go to at all anymore, for that matter. But yeah.
No, yeah, Nick talks about it all the time. Where I don't know he doesn't know what you did. He was just like he made it go away. He was impressed.
So let's talk about trolls.
Oh God.
Let's talk about.
We know a thing about those.
Let's just talk about trolls. What I've been meaning to ask, because there have been situations where there are trolls and people are calling people trolls, but they're not really quite trolls. I don't know, but
no. That's an insult to decent, hardworking trolls to call most people trolls. That is a fact.
That's what I'm getting at. Where do you come down on what makes for a troll?
Oh, I am one of the best known trolls. That's why I'm rich so many places. Years ago, and I'll say his name here because I doubt he'll ever see it. Steve McRae annoyed a lot of people. And if Spackle were still here, I'm sure she'd have something to say about that too. And I happen
He's
to have
a troll.
just been given a red. What?
She said he's a troll.
He's a troll.
Like an actual troll.
Oh, but I'm a white hat troll. And
but Steve McRae is himself
but
he's a toxic ass clown, is what he is.
Well, there you go.
But,
Steve considers Titan a troll.
I had coincidentally been given a wrench on the NSS show just before the major events, the breakup and all. And when all of the shit started, I had no context, no history, didn't know Steve, didn't know Kyle, had no idea. So I'm like, well, this is not what I signed up for. I'm just not going to hang around. But then they started with the homophobic shit. I was like, nah, we're not having that anywhere. So I hung around and I started gathering information. And anyone can tell you the one thing I'm really good at is finding receipts and gathering information. And I ended up
know anyone better.
Yeah, I ended up in some very weird spaces on YouTube and Discord to get everything I wanted. But basically, for a while there, every time I had spies in Steve's camp, every time he had a plan, I knew about it as soon as he told anyone outside of his inner circle. And so, like 3 times I can name, I literally put a stop to something they were doing pretty much as I did it. I made sure they knew it was me. Because I'm untouchable. I'm not on Twitter. I was using a different name then, but that name is not my real name. You can't get through me through my ISP. You can't get at me any possible way. I'm very good at security and internet security. So I knew that I was safe. So I said, fine, I'll be the lightning rod. Let them come after me. They literally can't get a grasp. Well, if you know about Steve, you may have heard the story about the time he ate the dollar store frozen lobster roll.
Wow. No, that was a running joke for a good 2 years plus.
And he ended up with a fecal impaction, and he talked about it on stream, which I don't understand why he talks about what he does. Yeah, which led to the Aussie troll. He's a real troll too. Who am I trying to say, Maya? What's his name?
An Aussie troll? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's
oh my God, tip of the tongue.
Agrippa.
Agrippa, thank you.
Agrippa. I couldn't think of it for a moment. Agrippa talked about his bunged up clacka all the time. So I literally spent a solid year messing with Steve McRae. I just trolled him, and it was opportunistic. I had no plans. I didn't go looking for him, but anytime he intersected me, and he so doesn't understand how technology works that I backdoored my way onto the Great Debate Community Discord server, deleted. They didn't have their perm set right. I could get in without anyone realizing I was there. Changed my nickname and deleted everything that showed that I had entered. So I was just a name in a list that no one paid any attention to, and listened to all their plans for like the whole time. But by the way, that is how I did some of that, Maya. That is how I did some of that.
I remember a lot of this.
Well, in the meantime, after about a year of messing with them and the NSS lawsuit not going anywhere and all that, I was like, I'm with a lot of toxic people, not just Steve, but I ended up intersecting a lot of toxic people who didn't like Steve, but they themselves weren't that great. So I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. I'm going to go back to what I was doing before, which is moderating a few channels and just supporting a lot of channels. Well, about that time, Steve said, and I still have the receipt on this, I saved very little from that time. At some point, I just deleted all my old receipts except for a couple of personal things that make me laugh. One of the things he said was, I will never go on a channel that has that guy as a mod. Every channel I went on after that made me a mod because it was a warning to Steve McClay to keep the hell away.
No, that is super. That is actually
now that you say
cool.
that, I do remember hearing about that.
Really awesome.
And in the meantime, I had always known.
Wait. Pause. My headphones are dying, so I have to go, and I love you people. But thank you for having me, Maya. Thank you for having me, Stephanie. And to you, it's always nice seeing and hearing from you. So you beautiful people have a lovely evening.
Right.
Take care, Beck.
Bye. No, I remember there was a couple of times when like Titan would hit me up on Discord and be like, come to the stream, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why is Steve on? Why are you doing this to me? I don't feel safe. But he would just like make like any comment, and then you would see Steve like fucking shit his pants. I don't know what he did, but like Titan and Drag were the only people that got that kind of reaction out of Steve.
Well, the best part was I had created this name, an account using this name and a different avatar, and even had my Discord server named this. I always planned to change to this name because of the bunged up clacka. Steve will not say this name. So he would never say my name on a stream again.
Oh, I love it.
This name was my final troll on him, truly. Hey, Neil. Neil's in the side chat.
Hey, Neil, you want to come in? I'm thinking maybe hang out here until like midnight, but midnight my time, which is like 15 minutes away. But if you want to come in, and have a word with Titan Uranus, go ahead and do that. But Titan, I actually want to know on kind of more on topic about what's been going on. How do you feel about the South and LGBT?
Oh, come on. How did that story not fill you with pride?
About what, Maya?
I was like, how did that story not fill you with pride?
Oh, well, the thing is, I grew up in New Orleans, and that's nominally the South, but it's primarily Catholic. It's a very different world. Where I live now on the Gulf Coast is actually a good bit. It's still very Catholic, but it does have more Southern Baptists and all that. But I'm not immersed in it the way you are. If you get just a little, if you get north of I-10, you're in Christ country. So it's a little different where I am. I'm also very near a lot of NASA installations and military installations. So there are people from all over the world here. It's much more cultured, I guess. So, even the people who are long-term residents who might kind of have opinions keep it to themselves more. So I'm not in the same boat as someone in a small town in the real Bible Belt part of the state. But that said, since the 1980s, a little known fact, I mean, I've mentioned this before, I'm non-binary. My first lover was a trans man. We worked together on getting laws changed in Louisiana because probably two reasons. Number one, he couldn't get an ID with an M on it until he had finished all of his surgeries. They made you finish all the medical stuff, as they called it. But the medical stuff, they literally prescribed that every trans person had to have, a male or female, had certain things that had to be done. And he didn't want bottom surgery. Right. I don't know what it's like now, but back then, bottom surgery for trans men was really hit and miss and kind of not a good thing. And, he was very happy with being socially male and being on HRT. And it turned out, rather surprisingly to both of us, that when he went on T, and because he was I had grown up with him. I should point out, by the way, we knew each other since we were 11. We didn't become lovers until we were late teens, early 20s. But, you know, he had grown boobs. But when he got on T and lost some weight, which he had been a little overweight, not much, he really looked like a slightly chubby guy who had been heavier and lost some weight. He really didn't need top surgery even. So, you know, we definitely wanted to change the rules around how you could change your paperwork. And there were also aspects to it, like having to go to court and have a district attorney literally preach the Bible at you before a judge would legally give you a name and gender change for your paperwork. A court you had to take notice in Louisiana. You couldn't just change your name. So we managed to get both of those laws changed to make it easier for people. Now I never really did much after that, to be honest. I mean, we didn't stay together. That was one of those just youthful fling kind of. We stayed good friends. I introduced him to one of his 2 wives he's had since then, and all that. I mean, you know, we don't talk anymore, but that's a separate issue. We were friends for a very long time, but you know, he got ill. He had some severe medical problems, utterly unrelated to being trans or anything else, and he couldn't do the activism anymore. And really, I had always just been kind of his voice. He had a learning disability that made it difficult to write, so he would say what he wanted to, what he felt needed to be expressed, and I would write it up and read it back to him, and he would edit verbally. You know, that's how we did the stuff we did. So, you know, back then it wasn't about being on the street and marching and whatever. It was about going through the courts and, you know, getting the laws, well, and through Congress, for that matter. For one of them, we had to actually get a law literally changed. But so I've been in this a long time, on and off. I can't say that I've always been an activist for 40 years, but through the years, I've joined in on a particular cause for a while, and then, you know, when that cause was won, and it usually was, because we know what happened the last 40 years, things got better, you know, until recently. I would move on. So, by the way, Kat wants you to say my name again. She didn't see it earlier or hear it earlier.
No, I mean, that's insane. Like, you're actually a trans trailblazer.
No, yeah. I would say I don't want to say their name, even their first name, because they're a little bit well known even now. But they were the trailblazer. I was literally the person behind the power, so to speak. I mean, I helped, I supported, I did whatever, you know. But I've been in it nonetheless.
Could get off the ground without supporters, though.
Well, true, I guess, but you know, but.
Well, on a lighter note, YouTube Punk says Titan nearly has all the infinity wrenches.
Yeah, so I'm making an infinity cod piece.
Oh, awesome!
You don't want it.
That's really good.
Half of you are going to go out of existence when I do it. That's, you know.
Well, being a Titan, I imagine the cod piece is similarly equipped.
And then there was another comment here, which I thought was interesting. They wanted you and Dick Dawson. Oh, there's Clara. I once suggested that Titan do a stream show with Dick Dawson. It could be called Dick and Uranus.
I don't know. I appreciate your comment. It's just really awesome.
Well, as I said, I hope Maya's not mad at me, because she asked me to join her stream earlier, but I was still recovering and I hadn't eaten yet. While I was listening to you, I was making pasta and broccoli and all so that I could eat something, and finally sat down and ate dinner at almost 11 o'clock at night. So,
no, yeah. I mean, you know me. I'll just take it out of your ass the next time we're in a chat together.
I'll come fine. On. I plan on coming on your channel. I just felt like I looked at the panel tonight and said, It's a full panel. And
it was. That was probably my biggest panel ever. Yeah,
yeah.
like
and I'm not going to say anything that anyone else isn't going to say better, frankly. I mean, so
no, I wanted everyone, in the community who had an experience to come through and voice, just talk, because it really I wish I had that article up where I could remember where I found it, because it really upset me that, I think either yesterday or today, when I saw that Americans were not as supportive, like a 20 or 30-year low for support of the LGBT community. And I know it's because they're being dehumanized. And I just really want people to just talk and be like, hey, I'm a human. I have, emotions and desires, and I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to live. And I don't know, it's disheartening. And, what I say to other people all the time is like, when it's not them, it could be you, because it was you once. They haven't forgotten about you. This is just, you're getting a siesta. Like, this is like, maybe take a power nap, but we need to reboot. But it's not even about that for me. Like, where it's just like, yeah, they're dog whistles. I know that any group coming for another group will also come for me. I'm never exempt from the ire. Right. And I don't care. I love Stephanie. I love Brie. I love you. I don't want to see you hurt. Like, if I knew I wouldn't be hurt, I don't want that for, like, just anybody who's different. And I don't know. I don't know where my voice is. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to have a stream on the internet forever, and I'm going, to spend all my non-Bad Science Sunday streams humanizing people and getting the word out there. Like, we're all the same. We're just all the same.
By the way, there's a really good Bad Science Sunday stream coming up real soon with some pretty bad science out there. So y'all better tune in to Maya's channel on Sunday to check out Bad Science Sunday, because it is bad.
Well, and I do want to say that, Maya, you're doing exactly the thing that everyone could do more than they do, I guess, but everyone who's doing anything is helping. You're an ally, you're a supporter. I don't do the public facing stuff because I'm not as good at it as some people. I support the people who do it. And also, I'm non-binary, but I'm a 6'4" hairy guy with a deep voice and a beard. If they start coming for people, I'm not gonna. I mean, I can frankly put on, Levi's and a cowboy hat and say, "What the fuck do you want?" They're not gonna bother me. So it's not the same for so many other people who are really vulnerable. That's the important thing to remember. So I think it's more important for people like Stephanie who does it, like Brie who does it, like Ben, everyone, normalize it. Go on the internet.
Exactly.
Be normal people on the internet having a conversation. That alone, I think, helps. And you platform those people not on purpose, so to speak, but without hesitation. You talk to everyone equally, and as a woman, that's kind of like sometimes they'll have the all-female panel on something, and you're going, none of these people know anything about what they're talking about. They only did it as a nod to doing an all-female panel. That's as damaging as never having a female on a panel in its own way.
And don't you think that the whole point of a Pride Month or of a Black History Month or of a, it's like, hey, stop thinking of these people in terms of some abstract construct that you've got in your own head, and start thinking of them start thinking of us as real people.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Just
right.
Normalize your existence and your presence as a normal human being having a normal conversation. That's because you are. I'm probably less normal than any trans.
And we don't always have to talk about this shit, but every once in a while we can say, oh, well, outside of this other shit I do, I'm queer. I'm,
right.
I'm different from you. But hey, I'm doing this other stuff too. It's really kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm a multifaceted human being. Who knew?
Well, the other day, and I know some of y'all probably saw it, Bread of Life had on and I didn't catch the whole thing, but had on this person, and they talked about queer and trans, and
I lost my ears.
She said some things, and I was literally in side chat saying, "No, that's medical misinformation. This is and I know Rebecca reads the side chat. I know for a fact she particularly reads, not particularly compared to anyone else, but I'm one of the people." Yeah. Well, I'm one of the people that she knows I'm going to say something she might be able to respond to. I'm not going to insult. I'm not going to be rude, So I would never do that anywhere. So I just wouldn't go to her streams if I was going to act that way. So she got some pushback from me, and she put my comments up on the screen, and
yes, I saw.
Didn't really give pushback to my comments. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, Jay.
I saw Rebecca's stream, and
Jay restreamed it and was commenting on it, and I came in around the part where she showcased your comment. She was like, "Titan, you're just wrong," and then she took it down and moved on, and I'm like,
right. But that's what I'm saying. She gave no effective pushback to what I said. Right. I was saying no medical misinformation. I can give you the studies, because I have them literally saved in my bookmarks. Of all the things I've always said I would never do, I hate debating, and I've only done it really 2 or 3 times. One of them was on a Christian server that I particularly wanted to be on for other reasons. I was doing one of my little trolls, and a guy there thought he had come up with a scientific means of proving that trans was immoral. And I had no idea. But the thing is, he said, he just said
that something's immoral. That doesn't.
Well, but the thing is, the way he phrased it was, I just need someone basically to play the other side, to LARP it even, and he didn't say he was going to do it from a scientific point of view. He just said trans is immoral, and I think I can show it. Well, he started quoting studies from he was an Otangelo 50 years ago, cherry picking stuff. I said, "Oh, I know that study. Hold on, let me pull it up." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "I have all your studies already." I said, when we got into the actual debate, and he had told me nothing in advance, and he started in on scientific studies, I said, "No, you just made your first error with me. I've probably got every one of those studies already in my bookmarks, and I know I've got that one. Give me a second." And I said, "Oh, go down to the conclusion. You're cherry picking one sentence out of the middle of the thing. Go down to the conclusion of what does it say." And on a fundamentalist Christian server, and I did not know they were going to do this either, because I was new there. After debates, they would vote on who they thought won. I tied with the guy.
What? Wow.
Yes, we probably both voted for ourselves. I know I did, but but we tied it. We tied exactly in the end on a fundamentalist server. They thought that I had beat him and proven that there was nothing immoral about being trans. And keep in mind that was before the recent groomer rhetoric and all of the crazy stuff. This was back in the day when it was just a conversation. It was not, the way it is now. But
it's not a matter of life and death.
Yeah, I mean, it really is now. I mean, that's one of the reasons. And I know, Stephanie, you're familiar with President Sunday, and I know Maya is too. He's an ally. He's queer. He came out on stream not that long ago. You know, so he's, you know, he's an ally and he's queer, I guess, is he's gay, is the best way to put it. You know, so, you know, I didn't know that, even though the person who runs his Discord server is a trans man and all of that. I really didn't know everything about him. I'm still learning about him, but that man plays, you know, four-dimensional chess. He's, you know, and part of the few times he has platformed something that looked, you know, bad, so to speak, it's been because he knew he could give effective pushback, and he did it really well, in my opinion.
He's very good. He's a very smart person. And,
yeah.
Yes.
It's fun, but I often find that, you know, with all respect to President Sunday, and I do admire his stuff, but the elevation of matters of life and death to matters of philosophy sometimes rubs me the wrong way. It's just because it feels
you and I had that conversation in DMs a little bit after the first stream you saw of that type by him.
Yeah.
And that's what I told you then. You know, there's stuff that goes on in the background with him where he says, I need research on this. And that Discord server, you know, I said earlier, I'm good at getting information. I mean, I'm still typing into Google and people are already posting everything I would be able to find anyway. I'm like, how do they even do that fast? It's amazing. But, you know, he gets the research, he gives the pushback, and he does it in a way. Yeah, you know, and we had the whole discussion because he did the thing with Destiny about, you know, reviving Fuentes' career, really. You know, and someone said, "Don't you think you do that with some of these things?" And he said, "No, because the difference is Destiny can't give pushback. I can, and I do, and I did." You know, and he's right. So, you know, that's one of the reasons I really like him. And there are a lot of allies. Anyone I support on YouTube, you can pretty much bet is someone you can trust on these matters. I guess, you know.
You know, you do what you can, where you can, when you can. That's my philosophy. Always has been, and if you don't, and that's my big objection to Rebecca. It's like you do what you can, where you can, when you can, and you, Rebecca, you ain't done shit.
No,
except talk the nice talk, like, oh, we ought to be nice to the gay people, and we ought to be accepting, and we ought to do this and we ought to do that. Well, that ain't good enough, hon. You know, that's not what you can do. If that's the best you think you can do, then you ain't got it right. You ain't got it right at all. Because the best you can do is to stand there and say, these people are people. And it doesn't fucking matter. You don't. None of this namby-pamby bullshit.
But not explicitly.
Yeah. None of this namby-pamby bullshit. You stand there and you say, I don't care. I mean, where is she denouncing Sal? Is she going to do that? No.
Yeah.
Is she going to stand against the people that come against us? No. Because that's her community. We're not. We're not her community.
No.
And
I mean, because
she hasn't made the slightest move aside from paying lip service. I mean, she's a transactional, you know, she might as well be Target. We'll put up a trans display and call it good, or we'll put up a LGBTQ friendly display and call it good, and we'll get the gays to buy stuff. And we'll get we'll hope that doesn't really piss off the cis people or the straight people. But oh well, it's pissing off the cis and the straight people. Then oh well, maybe we ought to take that bullshit down. And that's what I was going to say. That's the kind of crap that I can't stand. You're either with us. I mean, I know this sounds radical, but you are either with us or you are functionally against us.
Yeah, I do agree for the most part, but I will say this. Rebecca knew good and well she was going to get pushback from the other Christians that she interacts with, who are really her community, so to speak, for that, and she did it anyway. So there's that much of at least one Christian voice saying, "Nah, the rest of y'all are wrong. They're just people. Leave them alone." She's not doing it. She's milquetoast about it, but that's not just on this. Excuse me, just on this subject. She's generally just that way. So I don't.
Opinion? You're forgetting Jesus, who she honestly believes is real.
I know.
She's team Jesus. So it's not like, I don't know. The way I see Rebecca, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm getting pushback, but it's okay because because Jesus will appreciate this. So, I'm saying this because I don't know Rebecca at all. She reminds me a lot of the type of Christian I used to be. I wanted to be tolerant of everybody because Jesus called us to love. And, you're trans, which means you're going to hell. Now, I can't hate you into submission. So, we've got to love you. Everyone who, goes into church and they have this great story about, how they were saved or how they came back. It's always about how they were loved into the faith. And so obviously it's this love that's going to stop you from wanting to be trans and come to Jesus. So, my love for Jesus makes me show love to you so that I can help you not go to hell for Jesus. And it's okay if other Christians are mad at me because I'm doing what Jesus told me to do. Great commission type shit. I really do think that's her angle. I could be wrong, but it seems to tie up everything into a bow when I think about it from that perspective.
Well, and the thing, and off subject a little bit, the thing about Rebecca is I look at her lack of critical thinking, and it's really, she's not dumb. She's not stupid. It's ignorance. She's not got the education she doesn't have enough data to manipulate, to synthesize. She doesn't know where to start with what she does know, and she makes a lot of assumptions. And to me, the proof of that comes in some of the guests she has on, because she's had on 3 different guests that I was like, this person is not what they say they are, and I can still name them. There was the recently converted Catholic who had never been to Mass. He was calling himself a Catholic, and he knew nothing about the Catholic Church, and she had him on Why. And there was Taylor, the person who claimed that she found Jesus when she became a doctoral student in, biochemistry, I think. And literally, I never use it for unethical purposes, to be clear. I would never dox anyone or whatever, but it literally took me 3 minutes to know everything about Taylor. I knew where she was from. I knew what high school she went to. She was homeschooled until sophomore year of high school, and then went to a Christian high school. Then she went to a Christian college, and the college she was getting her degree from, her doctoral degree from, was also a Christian college. She was absolutely lying about never being a Christian before she, started studying biology on that level. That was just a complete and utter lie. She had been brought up in it. And the third one was, my favorite one, was the Satanist. And I was actually a little surprised and kind of thrilled, because I'm relatively new to Satanism. I consider myself Satanist adjacent. I've not done the praxis. I've not read the books. I've not done whatever. So, but I was invited to a Satanist server by the people who run it, because they said everything you say tells us that you're already a Satanist, you just don't know it yet. You basically are in line with the Satanist beliefs, from beginning to end. And so, I was like, ooh, I know a little bit about Satanism, but it'll be interesting for Rebecca to watch Rebecca experience this person. The person she had on was some like fluffy bunny hippie chick who, older woman, who, just a new age crystal woo-woo person who had read a single entry on Wikipedia or something about Satanism and talked about our holy, I don't know how she phrased, our unholy father Satan or something. But then she went on to admit that she was basically a Gnostic Satanist, that she had not read the Satanic Bible or knew anything about Satanists, and she wasn't an atheist. So she's not a Satanist. She's literally just someone using the word because she doesn't know what it means. So those three guests alone tell me everything you need to know about Rebecca, in the sense of she needs to literally be led to the water. You still may not even make her drink, but she's just nowhere near the water even right now. You got to get her there first and see if she'll drink, and that's going to take time and patience if it ever happens at all. So.
I forgive me if this is offensive, but don't forgive me if it's offensive. You can piss me off if it's offensive, but I think that Satanists are atheists with a sense of humor. For the most
yeah, I mean, from what I can tell, I still call it atheists with extra steps. I mean, it's to be clear, I'm kind of watching the interplay between the TS. Yeah, they have the Church of Satan people and the Satanic Temple people, and watching the interplay between them. No, we're the real ones. No, and all that going. Oh, this is exactly why I'm not a joiner. This is why I don't.
Whatever.
But the fact is that atheists, Satanists are just atheists with that choose to believe what amounts to the best parts of humanism. They codify it, and that's literally all it is. And there is nothing in Satanism, as far as I can tell, having the reading I have done. Literally everything I read, I'm thinking I can't imagine a single Christian disagreeing with it. If you just said, "Hey, would you agree that this is true?" They'd go, "Yeah, oh well, that's Satanism." You could really just piss some Christians off that way if you wanted to.
It doesn't take much to piss off a Christian.
Well, exactly. Well, I know. I have fun doing it all the time.
I don't know. I wish Rebecca would have gotten, on when I saw Rebecca's stream independently, and then I saw Jay going through the whole thing, and it's like, geez, you're so close. You're so close. But the one thing you won't do, the thing that really pissed me off in Rebecca's stream, was when she was going on about, well, I'm really surprised at how many people are becoming gay and becoming trans. It's all of a sudden it's like.
Oh yeah, no, I was there for that, and I was the one in the side chat saying, "Hey, until the 50s, we were castrated, killed, or put into mental asylums, and that's maybe why there seem to be more now, is because you're not doing that anymore."
Maybe it's because as a young child you're not being threatened with being brain shocked,
right?
Electroconvulsive therapy to cure you from being,
or just your dad beating the shit out of you, telling you
other stuff. Maybe that's part of the reason. I don't know.
No, I mean, but a lot of people, like, their dads would just beat the shit out of them because they were too girly. I mean, it's not I mean, even today, largely, still not a well accepted lifestyle, you know, and a parent doesn't want to, it takes a lot for them to come to terms a lot of times with it. So, I mean, you know, we were talking earlier tonight about like what things used to look like. And, you know, it's not that there weren't trans people. People seem to think that, you know, there's this magical time when there were no gay people, no trans people, there were no children with mental disorders, and, you know, mothers just loved being, you know, barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and cooking dinner for dad like every day. I don't know. I mean, there's just this false sense of reality that they, for whatever reason, need to make real in their head. And if it hurts your feelings, too bad, change.
And quick shout out to Mark Reed and Scott Duke in the side chat. But the thing about it not being a thing, I learned some of this just recently. Some of the you know, history of queerness, I guess, you know, throughout the ages that goes back like 4,000 years and more, you know, basically all throughout history. Any place that has a written history, you find evidence that they were aware and that we existed and whatever. So it's funny to me to see the people go, oh, it's so new. It's like, it's new to you because you grew up in a suburb with parents that didn't let you out of the house unless they were watching, and you know, it's like, you know, and really the satanic panic in the first place is a big part of why some of the young people are still like that today, because their parents were terrified that if they glanced away for a second, you know, God knows what was going to happen, who knew what they thought. But you know, that's you get these sheltered kids that don't ever meet anyone substantially different than themselves, and so they don't, you know. And I think you and I have talked about this. I remember, I actually remember that I grew up in a white bread suburb. Okay, you know, I remember the first time I saw a black person. It was at a Mardi Gras parade. I was maybe 5 or 6 years old at most. I know I was 6. I can actually tell you, God, my memory's that good. I can't remember what the hell I was doing in that room for, but I can sure tell you what I was doing at 6 years old. You know, and I mean, you didn't see black people on TV. You didn't see them in movies. I mean, it was rare. I think I'd seen, you know.
Oh, no. Come on, Titan. You
at
Rochester. Rochester. Come on. You know,
at 6 years old, though? I hadn't seen that yet. At 6 years old, I hadn't seen that.
The Jack Benny
my
show.
jaw. I remember I was just sitting there staring with my jaw on the ground because, oh my God, that person is like totally different from anybody I've ever seen. And this is a Mardi Gras thing, and it's an era thing. But at that time, of course, there weren't always street lights on all the streets, and there wasn't the floats themselves where they threw the stuff from didn't have lights on them so much. So if you had a night parade, the reason there were black people there was they paid them to carry tar torches. Now this was 1969. So, and they would literally march alongside the floats, and they'd pay them, you know, a few bucks each to march. But people would also, the floats were throwing the doubloons and the beads and the crap that isn't worth anything. And people would throw coins to and I'm trying to remember what they were called. It was a respected thing in New Orleans. It was part of the tradition at that time. It went away with the electric lights on the floats, but not for a racist reason, in other words. But at that time, it was a very respected thing. And you literally you tipped them. You threw coins for them. It was kind of like the kids who dive when you're coming into port on a yacht or on a cruise or whatever, you know, where you throw the coin and then they dive to get the coin and hold it up to show they got it. Oh, it was the same thing. You threw it, and these black teenagers would pick up these handfuls of coin that have these huge bags over their shoulder. because that was a lot of money back then. By the end of that, one parade probably paid your rent that month, even if it was mainly nickels and dimes and even some pennies, it still was a lot of money back then. So, but anyway, the point is, I can remember, so I know what it's like to grow up in that area where you don't meet anyone who's different from you. And we even had a Honduran neighbor that my grandmother, when she visited, wouldn't talk to because she was a foreigner, and she used a word I won't use, but she was darker skinned. She was freaking Honduran. She was like Latin or something. She was not African at all. But anyway, so it's not that I had to outgrow anything. I grew up in the era of civil rights, immersed in the idea of equality being a good thing. So but I still grew up in that entitled environment, and in that that kind of bleak homogeneity. I mean, homogeneity. I can't say the word. It was sad looking back on it, because later in New Orleans, when I got a little older, I mean, next door neighbor is Vietnamese, people across the street are African American, guy behind me, is from Colombia or somewhere, I don't even remember. Doesn't matter. The point is, it was a very different world, and it didn't take any getting used to, so to speak, because by then, to me, they were just people. But nonetheless, the kids growing up in that neighborhood knew that at 6. I didn't know it until I was, 16.
Yeah. I mean, sorry. I think it's definitely the norm. I mean, I guess if you're talking about most white Americans, but unless I'm talking to somebody like a white person that actually grew up in a city, I feel like I'm just explaining anything that is outside of white culture, because, it's, I don't know. Like, I've even talked to kids, Black kids who were raised by white parents, adopted, obviously, and they actually went out of their way to not introduce them to anything about Black culture. And all of them have said, and again, I understand this is anecdotal and hashtag not all Black kids adopted by white people, but from the ones that I've talked to, like, they didn't want to introduce them to Black culture because it was seen as a courtesy, that it would I don't know, it's something inherent in the culture that makes Black people bad. So if we just keep them immersed in white culture, then they have a shot at being decent human beings. I don't know. It's usually I'm trying to figure out what's going on through their tears, because they feel like they've been dehumanized their whole life. They can't relate to other Black people. They obviously aren't fitting in outside of their, the white people that they were raised with, but like, and kind of feel like they're code switching when they're around Black people, which of course doesn't translate. And then it's like, you're trying too hard, get away from me. And
right.
It's just like, where do I
would be like me trying to do that, yes.
Right. I mean, maybe a little younger than you, but I mean, and I know you're timeless.
Well, but the point is, if I walked up to a group of African American teenagers and attempted to code switch, I'm not going to. I started to actually quote something, and I'm like, yeah, no, bad idea. Not anything bad, just because it's exactly what I'm saying. It would just come across as entirely artificial, and instead of looking like an attempt at friendliness or whatever, it just comes across as insincerity. And that's the problem with it. But to bring it full circle, that's what I was saying. I remember the first time I saw an actual living Black person with my own eyes. And I remember the first time I saw a drag queen, a trans person, a person who was even obviously gay. Paul Lind, by the way, on Bewitched. I had him pegged at like 9 years old. So but but and I thought he was hilarious. But anyway, in fact, I thought the part of me, I really honestly think the reason I love humor so much is because thanks to people like Paul Lynde, because the only people who really gave positive
the middle square, the middle
gay role
square,
models we had were
always, yes.
comedians. Yes, if you were gay, you had to be funny as shit. It was like a job requirement. So, but to bring it full circle, that's what I'm saying. Having people on, on. I guess the best way to put it is all levels of YouTube and all levels of social media in general, social platforms, who are trans, especially right now, normalizes it. They're saying we're here and we're not going anywhere. Too bad, and that it's a struggle. It's part of a civil rights struggle, literally right now. And you're absolutely right. If we backslide on civil rights regarding trans and queer folk, we're going to end up going after other groups. That is a fact. I mean, I warned about that during the gay marriage voting stuff when a friend in California, for religious reasons, was going to vote against gay marriage. And I was like, I realize I'm not going to talk you out of it because you are coming from a religious viewpoint on it, and that isn't going to change. But allow me to point out that these are the same people that pushing your end of it, and she had been a high-end lawyer and all that. I said, these are the same people who would say you should have been barefoot and pregnant. And we already see that, in a lot of the Republican stuff of women are basically there to have the babies, I wasn't wrong about that one. So, but yeah, it's not fair to trans people to be in the forefront when they're really coming into their own, to suddenly have to be in the forefront of the struggle that they had essentially apparently already won. But it's the reality, and the best thing you can do is be visible. I mean, I don't know what else you can do at this point. Yeah, I mean, activism of other sorts, yes, but in terms of just making it a normal part of everyday life for enough people that it goes away. I think that's what's going to make it go away, is when people say, I know, watch this person on YouTube and they were fine, so that's that it erodes their conservatism from that point of view. It doesn't, one person or even 10 doesn't get rid of it, but they go, well, I know I've seen all these trans people now and they don't seem weird. They're not spouting horns and speaking, evil incantations. So they're, maybe not satanic. I don't know what they think.
Yeah, and as you make people more human, I know we saw this leading up to gay marriage, where there's like more and more gay people being portrayed in the media. And, if you liked, I don't know, Will and Grace, or, I can't remember if Modern Family was on whatever side of that, but it was being able to see them. It's just like, well, they're just people. And as it became more normal, it's just people doing things and living their life, and they're quirky and they're fun. And, I don't want to hate them. I don't feel the need to hate them. And I know a lot of times it's hard, and especially for Steph. I remember, a month or two ago when we were going through a bunch of bullshit and she didn't sleep for like 3 days.
Well, that's because I was arguing with idiots the entire time.
They're called Nazis. God damn it.
Nazis, yeah. Well, it's like, there was that whole thing. But it's like, at some point you just sort of go, okay, well.
Well, I mean, you're fighting for your life. Yeah. I mean, some things suffer, like sleep. I get it. I don't know.
The point of that whole exercise for me was to at least try to have the conversation,
right?
To try to just at least make your absolute best effort to say, hey, look it, you're out there sending out dog whistles. what we were dealing with were a couple of people just being idiots.
He knows what happened.
And we know they are, but they're out there just being idiots. And the what I saw going on was so many people saying, well, they're idiots, but they're my idiots. They're okay. I think they're okay. It's like but it's the old story. Like, you're sitting at the table with the Nazis. So it's like, don't do that. Please don't do that. Realize what this means, where these people are sitting. And if you're sitting with them, you can't be sitting with us. And you can't be sitting on the side of people who are at risk. And it doesn't really fucking matter how nice you appear. And this is the thing about folks like Rebecca and her whole thing. It's like, oh, I'm not, I have a really good friend who's blah, 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 or blah, blah, this, or blah, blah, bliss. And it's like, no, you can't, because this person is literally sitting on the side this person is sitting on the side of someone who believes in the superiority of the Aryan race. And you're sitting at that table. You're drinking their Kool-Aid. You're drinking you're drinking what's coming to your table. And at that point, I have to ask you, why are you sitting there? And how dare you call yourself an ally when you're sitting at the same table as the people who are out there saying, I know what this means and I don't care.
Yeah, and it's like I was saying too, a bunch of people really. It's like
but you gotta have that conversation. It's really fucking hard to do.
For me, a lot of the betrayal in the community was for people who didn't get that aspect. It's just like, well, why are you mad at me? I didn't do it. I didn't say it. Well, they're my friend too. And I'm like, well, okay, here's the thing. When I see you sitting at the table with Nazis and sympathizers, I have to wonder, because my life is legit in jeopardy right now. Like, we are on the cusp of like World War II Germany. We're on the cusp of like the Handmaid's Tale. And I understand a lot of people don't see that our democracy is in serious jeopardy. But what I see when I see you sitting with them is people who, would, if they were to drag me out in the middle of the night to have me lynched, you would turn your back because you liked, a lot of them were nice to you and you don't want to get involved. I don't know how, like, I smile on your face and be nice to you. It's like, well, after all of that, and, call me what you want, but I'm honest. You're always going to know where you stand with me.
Well, and I'm reminded of the thing, and it's a meme, but still it's true. If you go to an event and Nazis show up and you don't throw them out and you don't leave, you're at a Nazi event. I mean,
you're at a Nazi rally, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like you can't, it's the same thing, really. But we have a word for the Germans who didn't fight back against fascism in Germany in the 1930s. We call them Nazis. And
I mean, a lot of the Jews,
in the military or whatever.
Every single Jew in a concentration camp had had non-Jewish German-born friends that turned their back and watched the Nazis take them out of their house, sell their house, strip them of all their belongings. They knew there were concentration camps. Like, this isn't a stretch. This isn't hyperbole. This is actually what happened. There are people still alive that remember this shit.
They were afraid for themselves. They make you afraid.
All of that shit happened like 15 years before I was born. like it's my brother and my sister remember that. Or remembered that. They're gone now, but they remembered that. It's within living memory. This is not something that's abstract. And to me, that's the bizarre thing. As you grow older, it's like the old Jimmy Buffett song. I'm growing older, but not up. You're still the same person, but it's like, my God, it's so bizarre that people don't remember the stuff that's right before their eyes. And, it was 90 years ago. Well, I didn't see it. Well, but it was only 90 years ago. I mean, 90 years ago, last month, on the 6th of May, last month, the Nazis walked into the Institute for Sexual Research in Berlin, grabbed all the books, seized all the records, and on the 10th of May, 90 years ago, they brought them out into the streets and burned them. It was the first book burning. And who were they going after? Gay people, trans people. That's who they went after. They kept all the goddamn records and they rounded all the goddamn people up and burned them later. But they burned the books first. They burned the books first. They're burning the books first in fucking Florida. And you can't fucking tell me with a person. I'm 70 years old. I will be in November this year. You can't fucking burn that out of my mind, because it's not within my living memory, but it is certainly within my generational memory. And you motherfuckers who are sitting there and saying it's our fault when fucking Matt Walsh is putting up fucking pogrom videos and Elon Musk is letting him do it and promoting it on Twitter. You can't fucking do that and sit there and say, well, I didn't raise my hand like this. You can't do that. You can't sit aside and pretend this shit isn't happening.
I will say that one thing that gives me a little bit of hope is they're following a playbook. They're making it clear they're following the exact playbook.
Exact same playbook.
That actually gives me hope for two reasons. There are enough of
I need to break in, Mark. They're not burning books in Florida, but they're taking them out of libraries.
Oh yeah, it's functionally the same thing.
Taking them away. I understand you're in Australia. I understand you're not here, but this is serious. It is serious, and it can't be minimized. As a matter of fact, in Montana, 2 days ago, a trans woman was arrested, jailed, taken to jail, because she was giving a talk at a library.
I thought they canceled that event. She was arrested?
I believe so. I might be wrong.
It may be two separate incidents. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I
know they canceled one event because
it's like, I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry for if I seem extreme, but are they burning books in Florida is not the question. It's not the response you want to give right now, because what they are doing is banning them. They're taking them away. Teachers in Florida are leaving the public schools because of what is going on. This is the mechanism of suppression. And we can't code it any other way.
We also have states making laws to strip parents of their rights for giving their children trans-affirming care. And I mean, like, that's just like the tip of the iceberg. Like, I mean, when you look at like what they're doing, you know, and all the way to like blocking votes. I mean, we have the Texas governor actually on tape admitting to rigging the vote.
That was Paxton, the attorney general. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well,
sorry.
you know, he's impeached.
The one that was just impeached. Not for that. Not for rigging the vote.
Not for that, but for about 40,000 other things. But
right. It took more than that to actually impeach him. But like, just outwardly admitting, and like it's out there, the information's out there. I know it, a fuck ton of other people in positions to do something about it know about it, and everybody's like, well, you know, Biden won, so whatever, you know, like, and letting him do things, and they just gerrymander the fucking state, so it's going to be worse next time. And everybody's just like looking at it away, like they are systematically taking away our rights, and they're doing it so it's legal.
I do want to finish the thought though about the hopefulness of them following a playbook, because they're telegraphing what we know what the playbook is.
Do we?
Yeah, because it's all historical. They're literally following what they saw done in the 1930s,
right?
Which means that we can make a pretty good guess. But we can make a pretty good guess at what is coming up, what's next. And I think that's part of the reason they've started losing a little traction, is because they're being sabotaged ahead of the game, so to speak. And the other aspect,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They have lost a little traction. I mean, it hasn't been a lot, but
I'm not saying they're not. I think they're just making the wrong moves. People want to be in control of the reproductive rights. Like, I mean, they want to have reproductive rights. They are banning abortions, damn near killing women, and they're coming out after contraception next. I mean, there's just really bad policies. These should be things that you do at the very last minute, after you've like you don't start with this. And maybe you're right. Maybe because they're starting with this, like it was a fatal flaw.
There's 10 stages of genocide according to the UN anyway, and we're at stage 8, so it's only 2 more steps. So whatever.
Well, but the other thing is, this is a different era. People are better educated. Not everyone is better educated. Not everyone is less afraid, but we are less afraid. We've seen civil rights movements work. That had not happened then and there. So I think we're in a different zeitgeist, a different cultural milieu that just will not tolerate. The reaction to them is not, they're not getting what they think they're getting. They are from some people, but not from the numbers, and not of the type that they expected to. And I think this is something I've talked to Nick about a couple of times. There have been some recent events that make it look very much like they're moving to Plan B. They're scrambling. They're looking for alternatives because they've realized that something isn't going right. And I think part of that too, and I think it is all tied together, whether people want to hear it. It's a bit of a conspiracy theory, but more and more, I think we're all starting to kind of deal with it mentally. A lot of this is Russian. A lot of this is supported by Russia. They're using what's already here, but they're throwing money and resources at it to destabilize American government and European government because they think it benefits them, and they don't realize that, again, it's a different time than it was during the Cold War. And I think that's Putin not realizing it's not the Cold War anymore. And that we now are a little more sophisticated. When I say we, I don't mean politicians and generals. I mean we, the public, the American public, are going, huh, at least some of us are, at least a lot of us are talking about it, that this is not normal. This is not how America was 10 years ago. And so something changed. What? And we're looking, well, what changed? Well, we know what changed. So, that drawing that connection, even if it's untrue or not entirely true, because it's definitely partially true, is not out of bounds. And so when we look at what's going to happen next, we're looking at amateurs LARPing and getting support from someone who doesn't understand why what they're doing isn't going to work anyway, because he doesn't understand anything outside of the Cold War, apparently. I think he really thought Ukraine would surrender in 2 days. I really think that. And that didn't happen. And so we're seeing a lot of things that aren't going according to plan. And I think something's going to break. I think we'll know when the breaking point comes. And when it does, I think everything changes again, so to speak. I think that what's happening now becomes a part of the past. I don't think they can keep it up much longer. I think they're off schedule, is what I'm saying.
I agree. I'm very hopeful. But at the same time, I'm very fearful.
Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong. You're not wrong to be fearful, because they could still win. They could always still win.
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to play out. I'm very hopeful, because I think that coming out of the social gospel tradition, I do think the arc of justice and the arc of bends towards justice. We're likely to not be assholes the entire time. But I'm fearful that people aren't vigilant. If I can say this, a lot of people think that, well, the reason we're where we are right now is because of the olds. All those boomers think that all those boomers are racists and terrible people. And they just don't know. They don't understand. They're old and they're tired, and they have these old ideas, and they're blah blah blah. I have to remind people, Nick Fuentes, how old is he?
Oh, he's like 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's young.
Let's think of another one. Matt Walsh, how old is he? He's 36. How old are you? You are going to have to deal with your shit the way we had to deal with our shit. The garbage that was coming up, the fascists that we grew up with, you and I, Titan, well, Trump and Biden are a little bit older than both of us, thank God. Yeah, but still, you're gonna have to deal with your people. It's not like the racism, the misogyny, the homophobia is something that is exclusive to the older generation. It's something that you are living with today, and you have seen it in your dorm rooms. And you're always going to see it. We saw it. We thought we'd done something to tamp it down. And we weren't as successful as I hope you will be. It's on you.
Yeah.
It's on you. You know, I can't do it anymore. I've faced the bullshit my entire fucking life. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. No, I'll be 60 in September.
young trans and gay people that I see, they're proud. They're making it happen. That's great. But don't forget, you're the people sitting next to you are are gonna be fighting your ass until you're 72.
Yeah. Well, and I'll be 60 this September. I'm limited in what I can do, physically, especially, and so I do what I can online. And I got to say that one of the funniest things to me is when I'm on a Discord server for a while, chatting with people, and they find out how old I am, and they're like, "I thought you were 30." It's like, yeah. Guess what? We were around just like trans people have been around for a while, and so have liberals and real liberals, not neoliberals, and leftists and progressives. We're not new, There's some of us are older. We've been around the block a couple of times, and that's part of. I do enjoy the. Not to blow my own horn. It's a weird flex, I guess, but. You remind me of a younger person, Stephanie. I'm pointing at the screen right now, pointing at you, but because you're so passionate. See, I'm much cold.
Damn it!
You get hot. I'm very cold. As soon as someone in a side chat or on Discord uses a dog whistle or says something that I recognize as coming from a particular source, I immediately go into Spock mode. At that moment, I'm like, now we need to figure out, is this like, an agent of chaos, so to speak, or is this just someone who drank the Kool-Aid? Because if they're an agent of chaos, you can't do anything about them. You just get rid of them. But if they just drunk the Kool-Aid and you keep drawing them out on what they believe and why, it's incremental. You're eroding it. You're never gonna have they don't have an aha moment where they go, oh yes, I'm a progressive now. You do it slowly over time. And I've had a couple of the young people watch me do this, go, teach me what you know. And I'm like, I literally can't. I don't know how I do it. It's literally just patience. That's all it is.
It really is. And I've been saying that to people for years. It's not, you're not gonna have a conversation where somebody's like, oh my God, you're right, I am a dumbass. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. I don't get any. I'm not doing it out of ego, is what I'm saying. I'm not doing it to feel like a street epistemology thing, where you feel like you've made a difference or whatever. I know that if I've made a difference, it's a tiny one in one person. But if enough people make enough tiny differences in enough other people, that tips the balance.
You do what you can, where you can, when you can. That's all you can do. And but please don't forget that anybody who's listening who's not agent, please remember these battles are never won. They are always something that needs to be fought. And you're going to be stuck with them for a long time because people don't change a lot. They just don't.
I mean, if you don't know what to do.
But I'm optimistic. I think.
No, seriously though, like if you don't know what else to do, for God's sake, could you not sit at the table with them? Like, I don't ask for much, and I know like people are like accusing me of like cancel culture, but I mean like when people are spewing rhetoric that other people spew, that's actually leading to legislation to kill people, like maybe you don't engage.
I have no problem with cancel culture. Cancel the damn fascists. I'm sorry. I am not joking. I thought long and hard about that. About it's the whole. It is a corollary of the paradox of intolerance thing. Tolerance is a social contract. They are the ones violating the social contract, and therefore they're not covered by it. So you don't have to tolerate them. Get rid of them. When I say get rid of, I don't mean anything bad. I mean, get them off of social media. You know, to take their accounts. Don't make them lose their voice. That's good. That there is nothing wrong with that.
Well, anyway, an hour ago I was saying
I was thinking about that.
Going to end it an hour ago, and I think
this time an hour ago. So yeah, 15 minutes. I'm out of here.
I think maybe it's time. The Titans. Thank you so much for coming on, and
it's like the longest Titan stream.
And Maya, thanks for coming over here and continuing the conversation.
Oh yeah, thanks for bombing my stream. So we had to come over here.
Yeah,
kidding.
And Beck and Bree of the and Spackle and Jenny, all the folks who were over in your stream when we started this whole thing off. It was really great, and I think we need to work together to make every place we inhabit a better place, and hope we haven't done anything to make it a worse place.
Yeah, I mean, you do what you can, and I don't ask for much, just a good faith effort,
All right,
but
so Maya and I have never been on a stream together before. I don't think.
Oh my God!
All right, well there you go.
We have literally been talking for. We used to be in progressive liberal side chat, arguing politics with each other because I played devil's advocate. And should get mad at me.
Oh yeah, I was like, who the fuck let this boomer in there?
And it's funny because Ethan ProLib realized what I was doing fairly quickly, but it took Maya a minute longer.
That was, I mean, yeah, I was like brand new to YouTube side chats when I found him. I don't even know. Oh yeah, I do. I found out about him through Steve, and non-sex. So I had been in the community like maybe half a year when I started following Ethan, and yeah, so I didn't know anything about trolls.
It was just funny to me at the time because I'm pretty sure ProLib made us both mods on the channel on the same night when we had spent the last year arguing with each other nonstop.
Oh yeah, I'm in the middle of cussing somebody out. Next thing I know, I go blue, and I'm like, oh fuck. And I've always taken having a wrench seriously. It's like I always feel like if I have a wrench, I have to be an extension of the creator. So, which is probably
I don't talk about it much, but it changes you. It's why I actually don't like having wrenches some places. YFNA, the friendly neighborhood atheist.
Yeah.
Ethan he's not around on his own channel much or at all anymore that I see. But someone said something in one of his side chats about, oh my God, Titan doesn't have a wrench. I was like, he doesn't know who I am, and that's fine. Leave it, And I think he knew because I was having a good time. I could let my hair down. I could say things I can't say when I have a wrench.
Yeah.
There is one channel.
It's like me and President Sunday's chat.
Well, there is one channel where even with the wrench, I'll say whatever I want to, and that's Gourmania's, and that's a running gag more than anything. I mean, I go over the top on that, so.
But yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming to my stream.
Thanks everybody for coming.
And you can see me and Steph on Sunday.
Anybody want to hype their stuff, please go right ahead and do so.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
subscribe to Titan Uranus.
Yeah, everyone should subscribe to Titan. He has one. What do you have? Like one video done by Nerdy
Rodent, and I've forgotten the musician's name even. Yeah, I haven't. He disappeared. So 3 or 4 years ago, I put that video up. So go sub. 3 or 4 years later, I might do another video. It could happen at any moment.
It could happen. It could happen. And Stephanie and I will be on my channel Sunday. Well, Steph, are you coming? Bad Science Sunday?
Huh? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be there. I need to laugh. I like to laugh. I like to laugh a lot.
You know, who doesn't need it? And yeah, because I don't know, we started out doing, well, we do a lot of stuff, but I wanted it to stay light and just, you know, because we go through so fucking much through the week. And I wanted Sundays to just kind of be this day where we just like laugh, you know, and do silly shit and, you know, kind of get the past week off us as we prepare for the next week. So, you know, I appreciate everybody who comes through.
Well, I sure appreciate you both of you coming over to my little place where I haven't been doing much. I don't laugh as much as I should, but I do talk about sailing a lot, and I haven't done anything about today's victory of Stanford winning the collegiate national championships. 2 women's teams won the collegiate fleet racing, and Stanford also won match racing in collegiate sailing. Also, both with women's teams, and go ladies! Really awesome.
Girl power.
Really awesome. And we'll all stay together. And thanks so much for coming. And good night.
Night.
Good night.